which is what Four Locos are. Ban them. You can't. My body
Four
feels
Locos
like
are great. You got to get one in every couple of years. I'm due up for one.
Human.
And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for like probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. This is definitely the first take. Today's episode, we're going to be sharing our betting picks, the futures for the ACC championship in college football. Put your picks in now on who we think are going to win the conference. Sean, before we do that, can you tell our listeners where they could be making those picks over at BetOnline?
Yeah, all the odds are up. BetOnline, number one source. That's where you should be going for all your gambling. Use some BetOnline action last night in the, the Hurricanes versus the Rangers. Are those the two teams playing? I believe so.
Attaboy. Sports.
Bet against the Rangers. And
so
then,
you bet on it, you don't even know who the matchup was?
I lost. We got a little rowdy. But I wanted to get in on the action. All right? Casual. When it comes to that aspect of it, just for hockey betting. But I know what's going on in hockey. I know how the sport operates. But I'm sitting in the bar. I want to go. I want to get in. I'm like, let me take something. I don't want to bet on this Boston game. I want to let's just get this hockey game that's literally playing right in front of my eyes. Went right on to BetOnline, put a little 10-ski on it. Lost my 10-ski, but had a much better time watching hockey. And thanks, Joe. Head to the website today, just like I did. Or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
If we did like a real deep dive on sports betting and how it's changed everything, in a way, if you think about it, it is now a cost of admittance to watch games. You know what I mean? Like it used to be free to go to a bar and watch the games with your buddies, but now you're basically replacing the amount of money you'd be spending on tickets on the shitty wagers that you're placing and then losing on said game. Does that make sense?
Someone put it this way. It's like buying a mini ticket to the game. If you want to place a little bet, or if you want to place a big bet, it's like you're at the game. You are paying your admission. Sure. You feel like you're at the game. The game starts here. And now I've realized that we're doing a double extended BetOnline read that is carrying on for a while.
Well, we're doing a triple extended one because we're going to be reading off odds from BetOnline. Before we do that, though, folks, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment. Let us know, who is your pick to win the ACC? Who are you going to be putting money on? Who do you think others should be putting money on? Let us know. And then also hit that like button. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you tune in on podcasts. All right, Sean. As we've said when we do these, we're not just going to pick the team at the top. We're trying to pick teams that we think could present us with the most value. On BetOnline for the ACC for 2024, I think that this might be one of the easiest conferences to make money because I think that it is. The odds are just terrible right now. Like you got to go make these bets now because this might shift. Clemson leads at plus 250. We've got Florida State at plus 280. That one makes a little more sense. I'm not touching Clemson, who didn't add a single goddamn player in the transfer portal. But yeah, Dabo Swinney's going to figure it out.
If you're trying to bet on Clemson to win the ACC this year at plus 250, then just don't go.
Call the number. Call the number if you're betting on Clemson as your ACC.
Terrible decision that you would be making, and we're just like, that's a bad call.
That's one of those picks where you're sitting at the bar. And your dad's buddy's like, oh, yeah, I'm really liking Clemson. I think I'm going to put a bet down on that Dabo Swinney that just always gets the program right. And then you're listening to him and you say to him, hey, Rick, they don't have any athletes. Like, what are you talking about? Why wouldn't I bet on Miami or Florida State? No, son, you just don't get it. I've seen them win. They've won national titles. That was not that long ago. Rick, that was like six or so years ago, maybe longer than that. No, you just don't get it.
You and Rick had quite the conversation, didn't you?
Yeah, I think that we did.
But it's the perennial guy that's still 3 years behind and thinks that everything hasn't changed. It has. Clemson, terrible bet here. I mean, it's still, you're still getting plus money, but they're not going to win the ACC.
No.
It's just, they're just not.
The rest of the odds, Miami at plus 450, Louisville at plus 650, NC State at plus 875, Virginia Tech plus 1,200, SMU plus 1,200, North Carolina plus 3,300, Syracuse plus 3,300, Cal, I don't know why they wrote it out as California, plus 5,000, Georgia Tech plus 6,600, Boston College plus 8,000, Duke plus 10,000, Pittsburgh 12,500, Virginia plus 12,500, Wake Forest plus 25,000, and then Stanford. Really want to throw in a heater out there, plus 50,000. All right, Sean, my first pick, the one that I think is a little bit more on the safer side, it's got to be Miami. We have talked up Miami throughout this process. If I were just giving a pure pick on who I think is going to win the conference, I'm going with Miami, but we're getting them as the third highest odds at plus 450 to help us make a little bit of extra money. Cam Ward comes in. He takes the step forward because he's got tremendous weapons. He's got an amazing offensive line that's going to be protecting him. Xavier Restrepo, Damian Martinez, this group is going to put points on the board. And then not only are they going to be great on offense, but their defense, I think, improves as Ruben Bain takes a step forward, who was a freshman last year. Simeon Barrow is not going to be an elite premier player on the defensive line, but is going to be a really good contributor to help free up some of these other guys. So this team is the makings of what Florida State had last year, which is why I am running to the book to place my plus 450 on Miami.
You won't run to the book right now. I think Miami.
Well, I don't need to because I can run to Bet Online. So
I think Miami is the number one pick here for who's coming out of the ACC, strictly because they're the team, the quarterback. That's who. If you like a simple bet and you want that rationale, Joe just gave you all that deep stuff. All right, but if you're like me, sometimes you just need to take a little bit of that processing out. You get the paralyzation by overanalyzation. You want to just think about it. Think about it common sense wise. Cam Ward's the dude. All right. He's the best quarterback in the ACC. Why would you not? If you're just looking at all the teams, he could torch all of them. Take that bet. I think that's definitely the number one. Louisville is good at 650. Louisville played really hard last year. Jeff Brom impressed me way more than I thought he would. I wasn't as familiar with Jeff Brom's game. I'm not doing the Shaq. I was unfamiliar with your game, but I wasn't as familiar. You got Louisville right in the mix last year, deep in the season. Impressive. 650. I don't know if he does it again, but if you're looking for the value, it's a little bit better. And it's a team that scraps hard and developed their players good. They had a great defensive line. Their running game was strong. So if you want wins and unders, I think Louisville's the team that you like.
I don't mind Louisville. The only thing that scares me about picking them to just purely win, I think they're going to have a really good season and their portal class was good, but I'm a little afraid, Sean, of the turmoil that kind of happened over the offseason where guys that were coming in from the portal re-entered the portal and left. And it wasn't a huge group, but it's enough of a group that we can sit here and acknowledge that it's a little concerning. So I just don't know what the dynamic is there. But I don't mind it. I think that's strong value for your money that you're putting down there. My long shot pick that I would throw a couple dollars on and maybe hope that it pans out. I really like Syracuse at plus 3,300. I was thinking about Virginia Tech. I want to do a little more digging on Virginia Tech. I think that Virginia Tech is more capable of just being like a North Carolina this upcoming year, just really sneaky, able to knock you off if you're not paying attention and you come in looking past them. 7 wins. But I need to pick a team that I think is going to shock everybody and that also has an easy schedule. Syracuse is a pretty light schedule. I don't think they have to face Notre Dame. They don't have to really face as many of the premier top teams in the conference as all of these other teams do. But what I love, I think that Kyle McCord got the short end of the stick. I think that this is the perfect situation where he goes under the radar. There are a lot of really good offensive weapons. If there is a coach that steps in that has immediate success in the ACC, that has the Jeff Brom type season like you just talked about there, I am taking Syracuse at plus 330. Again, you put $5 down on it, and you're making some nice pocket change that you can go blow on another bad bet that you have later on in the week for the national championship, whatever it might be. But give me Syracuse plus 330.
Syracuse has a pretty cupcake schedule here. Ohio, Georgia Tech, Stanford, Holy Cross, UNLV, and then they could be 5-0 going into an NC State game in October. So they could be, and then it's NC State, Pitt, Tech, Boston College, Cal, UConn, and they close with Miami. They're playing one team, and then NC State can give them some bump. That's how it's going to shake out. Virginia Tech, like you said, can be a bit sneaky. The ACC is so. The long shot play in this conference is almost impossible because there's teams that genuinely it would just be burning money. You're burning money on Stanford, Wake Forest, Virginia, Duke, Pittsburgh, Boston College, Georgia Tech, and Cal. I think you're burning money on UNC. I think you're burning money on Tech and NC State. SMU, maybe just because they haven't been figured out. And
I hate the SMU pick. I really don't like SMU.
Making an SMU
no,
pick,
I'm not saying you are.
Yeah.
I've seen folks say that like, oh, SMU could be in the top of the division. I don't know if they're really there yet. We watched the Big 12 chew up and spit out all of the teams that moved up from G5 to P5, and they all got smoked. Cincinnati, Houston, BYU is the only like competent one. UCF, most of the teams got their asses handed them in the first year in the Big 12.
I think that the only way that SMU pulls it off or even makes a run is because of the familiarity or lack thereof. You know, there's not a bunch of, hey, you can't pull up last year's game film or the game film from 2 years ago of an in-conference team. Like if you're UNC looking at NC State, oh, you're going to play them every year. So you have tons of film. SMU, you're looking at them against a bunch of non-ACC teams. So maybe you get an early surprise. I think placing money on SMU this year is not a bad idea. Conference future, not a good idea. I think Syracuse, if you're looking for a long shot, I have to agree with you. They have the other quarterback in this conference. McCord's not better than Ward, but he can battle. I think. I mean, he was the starting quarterback at Ohio State. That does have to mean something.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that everything was not on his shoulders for his lack of performance last year, but I feel like he deserves a little bit of grace because he could have a total Bo Nix type of a transformation where the vibe just wasn't there. It didn't make sense. Go somewhere else where there's just a total environment change, and he could have a really, really good recovery at Syracuse. And I think that it starts this first year where we just went through the schedule. The schedule that they have is insanely easy. That probably is ridiculous. The easiest schedule.
If they would have to be very incompetent to not have a great record at the end of the year. It should be a two-loss team. Two-loss team, maybe three.
And that sounds insane, but y'all watch. You will you will see how good they could. If everything goes according to plan, that 3-loss season is certainly on the radar for how weak the opponents that they have. And we've seen them with worse rosters get more wins. So like we got to take that into account as well. All right, there was news. This is FCS FBS news. Missouri State FCS football program is moving up to Conference USA, Sean. This is unexpected in a way. They were one of the teams that had been rumored to move up. Conference USA is desperate, as we can tell. My words, as soon as I saw this when we were looking to put together our final rundown, were, you got to be kidding me. Their overall all-time record, Sean, in just football performance, 492, 532, and 39 for a 48% win percentage. They have 10 conference titles and a 1-4 playoff record in 5 playoff appearances. Their stadium capacity only fits 17,000 people, which is on the bigger side for FCS. I just think it's so lame that this is the world that we live in for conference realignment, that Conference USA, obviously the weakest G5. Could have been a little more patient and evaluated their options. Instead, they're going after a very, very mediocre FCS program. One that's been
four wins last year. They had 4 wins.
Well, but forget that. They're historically a bad team. This is like the ACC. I don't get it. The ACC going and grabbing like New Mexico State. It's like, okay, like why?
I don't know. Maybe I got to go see a game there because I didn't mind the Delaware move because I saw the passion for Delaware. But Delaware has also been a playoff team. They have constantly been at the top of the CAA, at least over the midway point. Late in the seasons, they're competing for the top spot most of the time. Where's the momentum with Missouri State? Where's something to build off of? There's not much. It doesn't feel like there's much in the FCS space. They've just been there in the FCS. And then you're going to go to another conference, just G5, and still be there, but worse. Maybe you get a bit better, but how much? You're not going to win the CUSA. There's no shot. There's no shot Missouri State's making an impact within the first 3 years.
They could barely be competent and competitive in the division that they were playing in. You know what might be part of it? I pulled up a picture of their stadium. Their stadium is actually pretty big. They seemingly have put more effort into it's got that G5 feel. I think it certainly needs a little bit more work to the size of it. What it just irks me, I don't like it when programs that aren't clearly invested in football are moving up. I actually, if it was Tarleton, I think it would make a little more sense, and I would be sitting here going, yeah, they're doing it way too abruptly. But all of these articles that you read, all you continuously hear about is how the current athletic and school administration is aggressive in building a football presence. They want to grow and build a presence for football. They're very aggressive. And now Tarleton's boxed out because this is the 12th member of the CUSA, and it's unlikely that they go to add more members.
It's just different than if it was if it was Sac State to the CUSA. I could rationalize that in my head. I'm not even worried about the logistics cross country because we're way past that threshold.
Or even Incarnate Word is like another team that's clearly been efforting being good.
Like that is the ballpark for me. Like A- FCS teams, B to A- teams are the ones that should be moving up. If you're an A or A+ team and you want to stay in the FCS, make the championship every year, that's fine. More power to you. But you can't have C- level FCS programs just jumping up like this. I don't know who that benefits. I just don't. You have a team with some momentum, a team that can constantly make pushes is in not just our polls, but everyone's polls, either moving in, out, something top 25. Missouri State didn't even touch it last year for me, ever. No. It's just so random. It's so out of left field that I can't rationalize why they would do this.
The AD and the CUSA president must be golf buddies or something.
That's don't know.
Probably it.
There's literally 25 teams that if you're going to make the CUSA jump, I put it in front of Missouri State.
Yeah. Disappointing. All right, to wrap up today's show, Sean had a very interesting night last night when we were taping this. So he posted on Twitter a disturbing image of a Four Loko and a Colt 45. I also had a really weird text exchange with him yesterday where I texted him like, "Hey, I'm off tomorrow. Let's try to tape." And his response was doing sidewalk slammers tonight for Sam's B-Day, who's your roommate. You then follow that up by saying, "We're throwing it back tonight." As in you're throwing ass.
No, we are not throwing ass. All right.
You clarified that you meant to say we're doing a throwback, but I almost tweeted that out, and I was thinking I'm not going to do that much.
I appreciate it.
I'm still going to bring it up on the show because that was one of the worst. Because usually I'm the one saying miswording things and sounding like a total weirdo. So I'm going to call you out when you do it. Can you give us the details of last night? Because you did some some high school level shit.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that I used to do, which I used to be a big fan of.
Throwing it back, that term is not in my general lexicon. So when I have to use that term,
I didn't ask you to
pop up on a sus meter. Okay?
I didn't ask you to defend yourself. I asked you to explain what you did last night. I didn't ask you to defend yourself. I'm just letting you know,
but you brought that up. I
didn't ask you to defend yourself.
I got to defend
I didn't ask you to defend yourself.
Look, here's what I'm saying. I think the quarter life crisis is definitely hitting. And the house, everyone's.
It's just hitting now. Mine are. We're already in the middle of this goddamn thing.
I know. You're gone. But
yeah,
that we've lived together in this house, being a 3 dudes for 3 years. So now that everyone's kind of moving out, we're trying to pack in the fun before it's gone, and then it's real adult world time. It's just time. But another one of us turned 26 yesterday. So for some reason we decided, hey, instead of just going to a dinner like we've been doing for birthdays, which kind of feels stiff and boring and played out, we decided to do sidewalk slammers. And if you're unaware of what a sidewalk slammer is, you go to a 7-Eleven or convenience store, you get a 40 ounce of your choice, and then you get a Four Loko of your choice. You drink half of the 40 ounce, and then you put the Four Loko into the rest of the 40 ounce, and then you polish off the rest of that 40 ounce.
Yeah.
I know I'm saying 40 ounce a lot, but that's what it is. It is a terrible concoction, overly strong, and I think it's very dangerous also, especially for high schoolers or young college kids. I'm certain.
Shut up. Shut
put
up.
In the infirmary.
Oh, it's dangerous. Shut up.
I'm not advocating for the sidewalk slammers, but I know they've already elevated it to the Borg, and the Borg is even worse.
Kids these days don't know what a sidewalk slammer is. None of them have the balls to do it. Continue. What were you saying?
We're so washed, Joe. It's unbelievably over. This is the last time I'll ever have this drink. It was just horrific. It was awful. Throbbing headache when I woke up. The bathroom scene, undescribable. John Carpenter's props couldn't even do it justice. Okay. It is undrinkable and a big mistake, but we did it for the mistake.
Did you do it to its truest definition? And did you guys sit and hang? See, this is where I'm kind of wondering there might be a little not disconnect, but I'm wondering if you fulfilled what it is in definition supposed to be. Did you sit and hang out on the sidewalk near your apartment, near the 7-Eleven, or just a sidewalk and drink these and hang out for an hour?
That was the plan. It was raining. We basically all gathered in the living room on the couch, and then
not even on the porch.
It was raining, Joseph.
Oh, this isn't a sidewalk slammer. See, I know that the sidewalk slammer.
This would be a living room slammer, which is it's sadder, much more, because it was a beautiful day. We were ready to actually go out to the sidewalk and rip it. We just couldn't. But we had too much energy to actually drink them, no matter how bad they were.
See, I think that less of I understand it's the type of drink. I also have always been being 21. I used to do this all the time. Used to do it in high school, in college, when I would go home. Me and my buddies were all the time. Go get a tall boy, go get a Colt 45, whatever, one of those, tall Bud Lights, sometimes even a Four Loko, and you just go sit in the sidewalk and you sit and drink. I don't know if that's not classified as a sidewalk slammer. It's just classified as a sidewalk cocktail, maybe.
And I've received a lot of questions about why Colt. All right, I'm not a Colt 45 fan. I'm not.
That was great. I don't know why anyone was poo-pooing that.
Well, it's because the Miller High Life 40 is exceptional. It's way better than the Colt. But I didn't want to taint the High Life because I like the High Life. It's a nice beer to me. So I didn't want to dump poison into it, which is what Four Lokos are. Ban them. You can't. My body feels
Four Lokos are great. You got to get one in every couple of years. I'm due up for one. I'm due up for a Four Loko. Yes, I am.
Here's the beers out of your fridge, big man. Is that taking place this weekend?
No, that's taking place when I get back from New Jersey for when we look at apartments. I already told you this. You already knew this. That's a lot of calories I got to drink in a weekend, brother. Quick added
Did
story.
you just say that's a lot of calories? You're just not human, man. You're just not.
I'm trying to lose some goddamn weight. Maybe you should get in line and do the same.
I agree, but I'm over here really. I'm drinking Slammers. All right, so I'm a lost cause. I am. I am a lost cause. You're a lost cause. How are you complaining about a full fridge of beer? How could I tried
to create a window where I told myself I was going to be focused on this, so I can stop getting stuck at the same goddamn weight and then regaining it. God forbid.
God does forbid. A beer has about 30 seconds of life in my fridge. Just all the hyenas that are running in and out the house. Coming. Oh, can I get one? Can I cop one? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. It's a beer, but it doesn't last. That fridge would be turned over on its side if it was placed in this apartment.
When you get older, you need to be a little more conscious of what calories you're putting into your body, because then you just get dumpier progressively easier, man. One of these days you're going to
think I'm unaware of that. You think I'm unaware?
If you were aware, then you wouldn't be berating me for this.
I just have to check you for saying something that crazy, being bummed out about having beers in your fridge.
I'm not bummed out. I'm trying to figure out how, why would it? It's not me being bummed out, because I quite literally said I'm going to attempt to drink all of them.
Can you christen the new place with a sidewalk slammer? I just claimed that this is my last one. The next one might kill me. This, I kind of got his.
No. There is nothing worse than being the guy who just even has a Four Loko, hanging out with other people when you're going out. I don't want to be that guy. You need a Four Loko buddy. When I was in high school and when I was in college, my friend Devin, who lives in San Diego now, every time he even comes up to my apartment in LA, he would bring a Four Loko, and whenever we would get drunk, he would always bring me a Four Loko. You have to have an accountability buddy, which it's not really an accountability buddy where like someone is paying attention to your actions. You've got two individuals that are just so obliterated with the worst possible energy. It is the wave of being hyper and over exaggerated and demonstrative and destructive. And then 2 hours later, you want to kill yourself. That is the wave of consuming a Four Loko. And then you have two people who are doing it at the same time, who are trying to check each other's actions. It might be one of the most dangerous. I have many a bad stories of time. We drank 2 Four Lokos and went to a Clippers game once. That was not a good experience.
Were you heckling? What were you doing? I bet you had so much popcorn.
Oh, we were all the way in the way up back row, because we didn't want to spend money on tickets. And
sure, well, you spent a bunch of money on the expensive booze.
It was the Clippers Jazz playoff game, and there was heckling. We were heckling Rudy Gobert, and we were saying that France stinks. That was what the heckling was. We got a good amount of people to kind of join in on it. That I think were equally as drunk as we were.
LA Knights, man, you can't beat them.
This was like 4:00. What are you talking about?
What?
Yeah, it was a day game.
I was truly unfamiliar with your game. If you're ripping daytime Four Lokos with a buddy,
you used to drink with me. You and I used to drink 40s. We used to do that once a month.
I was 21. Goddamn 26 now. It's over.
I was 23 at the time. Oh, you say that now, man. We're gonna no.
It's so no. It's so over. I mean, the whole house is the Tylenol distribution center downstairs is insane. Everyone is just ice pack. Not really, but just reeling.
No one has work today.
Oh, there's plenty of work. None's getting done. All right. This is the most unproductive house in Arlington, Virginia today. Somehow you got me to do a show with you. I can't believe it. I woke up today and said, "There's no goddamn way."
You posted that picture, and I was fully prepared to get a text at like 3:00 my time and be like, I just woke up. That was what I was getting prepared for.
You thought I'd be waking up at 6 p.m.?
Yeah, I really thought that was coming. All right, I think that's good enough to wrap us up on, folks. Just a reminder, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment. Would you do a sidewalk slammer? Let us know. At Joe DeLeone.
I got one little part. When I was buying the slammers, right? This actually did make me feel good. I had the 40 and I had the 4 Loco. And there was these 2 dudes in front of me. I think they're maybe 20, like right on the bubble of legal drinking age. And then I'm just holding them. One of them kind of turns, looks at me, says, "Slammers?" I just look back, slammer. And then I'm like, yeah, it's still alive. I'm glad it's still alive. But
you walked out of that store and then they went,
look at that loser. What a loser. Getting in his car alone, buying one slammer for himself. What a dork I looked like. Oh,
he looked at his buddy and said, "We're not going to be like that, are we?"
No, good luck. You're living here. You're gonna start seeing it.
Yeah. All right, folks. We'll talk to you later. Enjoy the rest of your week.